I'm going to be connecting with the Arcturians today. I just did a video to get perspective on heroin addiction. So I channeled the Arcturian Collective to see what they had to share on this. And I have another interesting question. And this is the question here. This is what we're going to look into today. It says, I would love to hear the Arcturians share their viewpoint on the narcissistic personality type and how to manage or overcome a relationship with a narcissist. All right. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be curious to see what the Arcturians have to say. I'm just going to go ahead and relax here. And I want to thank you so much for asking this question. If any of you guys are, have any curiosities, any suggestions for future videos, be sure to put them in the comments. All right, I'm still absorbing energy information. I'm so excited to dive into this today. Okay. I've been watching a lot of South Park lately, and I've been really intrigued by the Eric Cartman character because he has a very narcissistic type of personality. So there's interesting timing for this question, and I absolutely love connecting with the Arcturians. So I've got like images of South Park going on in my head right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and clear it all out, and let's see what the Arcturians have to share with us. I'm walking into a space that has a lot of different colored buttons, and the walls and there's panels everywhere are covered in different buttons that seem to have a mind of their own, almost like the buttons themselves know how to work together with other buttons, and the lights are moving around all the buttons. Like, it's almost like the buttons are interacting with each other. It's like I'm walking into someone's head, and it's full of panels and buttons and interacting buttons. Nobody's really pushing any buttons. It's like the buttons are interacting amongst themselves, and there's like a million buttons in here. And I see a woman come forward, and it's very hard to define what she looks like because she's kind of a cat, a human, and an Arcturian combined. And she stands upright and she wears a princess dress. And she's showing me the buttons. And I feel suddenly overwhelmed, and I'm watching myself in the scene. I'm kind of faint or pass out. I see many overlays of images, and one of them is the exact same image, but many people are working inside of this space. And they all have blue skin, and they have very big bulbous heads that are kind of bulbous outward, not like almond shape, but they're kind of like bulbous, and they're bumpy as well, and big and around. And they're blue skinned, and they're in a hurry, and everybody's really busy and really quick about their decision making. Now the scene changes, and I'm looking through the eyes of a human, and there's a belt that is really tight around my neck, and it's getting tighter and tighter, and it's making it so I can't breathe, to the point that it's basically going to take my head right off. Like, it's literally going to go all the way through my neck and then take my head off. And they show me how everything I've seen and everything I've described to you guys is very distant of where the feelings are found. So if I were to be going through this and trying to interpret it, I need to have my emotions in order to interpret the way things make me feel. And if it makes me insecure, or if it makes me happy, or makes me feel silly, I need to have my emotions in order to interpret the meaning in a more vast way. So if we only have our mind to interpret the world, it's going to be a much more shallow reality, because we're not working with our emotions and our mind, and our eyes and our feelings. Like the more we bring in the world around us through all of our senses, the more of a well-rounded experience we will have in our life. But the more that we just work through life at the level of mind, the more that we are avoiding the totality of our experience. And they want me to explain to you that when I'm trying to describe this strange, like cat, humanoid Arcturian being in the princess dress, and then I'm explaining the buttons, and I'm saying all of it felt very. How do you want to? It's just very flat, very. It just, I guess it is what it is. It just looks like this. This is what is taking place. This is how the buttons are interacting. This is yet another, there's overlays of other images, and this is one of these images, and everybody's in a really big hurry. And it's basically the same scene over top, yet that scene, over top other versions of the scene. But it's all about the mind and movements of the mind. But it's not taking life to a deeper level. They want to know if that you feel that is a disability for a human being to interpret their world based on simply, I guess, less sensory interpretations and more of just maybe sight and mind. And they're curious to know because they're showing me how there were many kind of layers to the same image. And how we can't always pick up on all the layers of meaning in every conversation, in every situation, every interaction. It's very hard for a human being to pick up on all the layers of meaning, so we can only pick up on this detail, that detail, and we try to construct our reality based on the best that we can interpret of it. But some human beings choose to interpret it through their emotions, interpret it by trying to put themselves into other people's shoes, by having a fantasy interaction in order to understand themselves and if they're making the right decision, or if they will hurt this person, or maybe this person won't understand if I say it like this, so maybe I should say nothing at all. And so some people are going to take a situation and become very emotional with it, become very imaginative with it, to try to interpret themselves in the right decision to make, whereas some people will just respond in the situation. It's almost like their wiring is going to be working with less sensory tools to simplify, whereas you could over exaggerate, let's say, in order to feel comfortable and safe with how you're interacting with others, in order to not hurt other people. The Arcturians have no they don't see it like we do. They don't see it as a narcissistic personality type per se. Like they don't interpret. They're very neutral about the way that human beings choose to work with a lot of emotions or a lot of interpretations versus simplify it down. They're very neutral, and they don't see good or bad the way that we would perceive it, and maybe even identify certain personality types like this. Because to them, it's more so like it makes you feel good, or it suits you, or it does not suit you. So why would you go to the extra lengths to be so conscientious of so many details when you could simply say yes or no? And you're entitled to yes or no. So what more do you need to do, or what more do you need to say? And why are you attaching to the outcomes? Why are you attaching to the way you might hurt somebody or be misinterpreted by somebody? Why are you doing that? It's almost like, who cares? Without saying it. Mainly because you are choosing to either become attached, you are choosing to degrade yourself, you are choosing to let somebody degrade you. You have to simplify it in a way. They're encouraging you to simplify it down to what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then own that, without feeling shame or guilt or judging yourself or judging anybody else for their responses. So I'm talking to him about manipulation. I'm talking to him about some scenes, like let's say, Eric Cartman is saying something about Kyle, and Kyle's frustrated with this, and says his opinion. He's trying to help Eric become more maybe compassionate or aware of other people's feelings. But Eric Cartman is his own personality, and he wants everything to work out his way. And he'll go the extra lengths and even degrade other people in order to better his situation. But again, the Arcturians are like, so what? So let's just wait a minute here. So it's okay that human beings choose to follow their own inspirations, even if that is going to hurt other people. I guess the whole conversation is what actually hurts somebody. They choose to themselves be hurt. Why is it Kyle's responsibility to make sure Eric is understanding of what other people's feelings are? Why is Kyle taking it upon himself to, in a way, help Eric to grow up to be understanding of other people's feelings, for instance? What is our responsibility to each other? And how do we become attached to each other? And is that appropriate? Is that our responsibility? And they show me how Eric's always hanging out with his friends. But are they really his friends? And why do they even put up with his personality when they know what he's like? So why do you consider these people your friends or your lovers if they're so terrible, if they're so self-absorbed? You have to choose your own path. There's a massive pause here, because they're really encouraging us to simplify it down to what works and what does not work. And you have a right to your opinion, and that's it, period. There's nothing else that you owe somebody who is not doing you any favors. And don't you owe it to yourself to choose people that are more vibrationally attuned to your style? I really want to emphasize that you choose your own lessons. You choose your own experiences. You choose to work through this. And you can take as much time as you want to talk through the way things make you feel and your interpretation of right and wrong. Or you can simplify it down. It's almost like, I don't know if they're saying a narcissist could simplify it down to what makes the world revolve around me. That's like a simple way to live and encourage a winning outcome for the narcissist in every situation, no matter what that means to everybody else. In a way, it's like simplifying it down, but the narcissist is going to have their own life lessons too. So everybody is going to be working through challenge here. But those that would interpret themselves as not a narcissist could become overly exaggerated in their emotions and their interpretations of things, and be allowing themselves to be hurt and becoming stuck in a situation they want to get out of and feeling imprisoned by that. And all of this is sort of happening here when all they have to do is simplify it down and just simply say, this isn't for me. Goodbye. And you have a right to close the door on somebody that you feel is inappropriate. Their personality type is inappropriate. You have the right to close the door. If you have an Eric Cartman in your life, just close the door. I say, okay, let's say you have a possessive narcissist. Like, let's say you're in a relationship with a narcissist who's possessive of you. So you close the door, but they find their way back to you. These Arcturians, like, I'm really trying to really expand the horizons of all possibilities here to try to reach anybody in any type of situation. And they're like, yeah, so simplify it down. Again, you're attaching to the concept of a possessive person possessing you, and you find an insecurity now in this. Why do you think you have this lesson? Because you simply need to stand up and say no. Even if you have to say no a million times, you say no a freaking million times. And close the door in their face a million times if that's what it takes. Eventually they'll figure it out. Because it's like, they're kind of like, if the narcissist needs the universe to revolve around them and somebody keeps shutting the door in their face, that's going to be really damaging. So eventually they are going to go in another direction where the universe can continue to revolve around them. But remember, the narcissist is going to go through their own lessons. So if it's damaging to their ego, it's going to be hard for them to work through that. So we're forgetting that everybody here on planet Earth, no matter what your personality type is going through challenge. So we simplify this down as to what works for you, what doesn't. And you might have to just simply close the door on someone's face again and again and again and again and again. If you want to define them as narcissistic or whatever, then fine. What works for you, what doesn't work for you? Close the door if it doesn't work for you. They're showing me, okay, now this is complex because, man, they're taking this to a whole nother level. They show me your job. They show me family members. They show me friends. They show me relationships. They show me even things that you wouldn't even realize, like living in a fantasy. You don't even realize that you were living in this fantasy. 10 years later, you wake up and like, why was I doing that? You know, I need to get with reality or something like this, okay? You're constantly awakening to what works for you and what doesn't. And sometimes the job you could say isn't working for you, but you don't feel like you're in a place right now to close the door on the job. Is it because the job is a narcissist? Or is it just not a good fit? Is it because you need the fantasy right now over the reality? And that's fine because you're choosing that without even realizing it. I mean, and family members that don't treat you the way you want to be treated, but you still love them. And you're still trying to help them. And then you feel degraded. Can you close the door on a family member? Yes or no? It's where are you at right now and what do you feel comfortable with? Whatever you can do to spend as little of your energy complaining, degrading other souls and their personality types or their the way they are, you have to just honor what works for you right now. If you're not capable of closing the door on the job or the family member or the narcissistic relationship or your attachment to the fantasy, that's fine. They're really like, hello. Like, I don't know, they're very obvious about it. They'll just simplify it down. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Detach from your emotional connection with what you like and you don't like about this world. What works for you, what doesn't? Can you close the door on this today? No, I can't. Okay. What else is there? Hours of time complaining in your head about people or the job or why is this my life? Or investing your time and energy in things that you like that are helping you to grow in this world. So that's what they have to say. They're taking me back to remember that not a single human being can interpret and understand right down to the atomic level of everything in every single moment at every single second. And if you can't do that, then why are we disappointed in each other? Because not a single human being is that capable at this point in time. Where we are 100%. Not a single human being is functioning at 100%. So why are we disappointed in each other? And why are we spending our time and energy in that disappointment. And even, why would you be disappointed in yourself if you're not 100%? There's going to be humans who take the time to try to step into other people's shoes, and that's their style. That's the way they want to live their life. There's going to be humans that just choose to step into their own shoes, and everybody else should just revolve around them. That's their style. That's their way. Should we be disappointed in those human beings? Should we be trying to control or change those human beings? Should we be spending our entire life investing in trying to change these human beings, or spending that time and energy and investing it in bettering ourselves and making the most out of this lifetime, closing the door on what doesn't work, opening the door on what does? And if we don't know if it's working for us or it's not working for us, then just say that. Say, I don't feel right about it, but I'm not ready to make a change. Okay. What else is there? That's what they're saying. All right. Let's just see if there's anything else, okay? Oh, I guess apparently I didn't come full circle in this. Again, the buttons. And this image reminds me of the head, and how flat it could feel, but how active it also could be. And how this could be one way of living life. And how I could see a bunch of quick images going over the top, and then all I can do is keep up with this one, and it reminds me of this one. And this is the best I can understand of this being that's standing here. This is the best I can understand of this situation. This is the best I can understand. So if this is the best that you can do, then you can say that. And there's something also about the human being, again, can only be and do and conquer and understand and be and do and conquer so incredibly much, because a human being is not functioning at 100%. So again, be careful of how you're investing your energy. Simplify it down and make the most of your life. Okay? That's what the Arcturians are saying here. That was so awesome. That was so understandable. Thank you all so much for being a part of this experience with me. I hope you enjoyed this message. You found it useful. If you guys have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope you all have an amazing day. If any of you are interested in exploring a psychic session with me, you can visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/abbeynormalswisdomquest. All right, take care, everyone.